JKLive live here at Citizen Television, talking to a man who's working from home, his home office. He actually happens to be the CEO of Absa Kenya, Jeremy Awori. Tweets coming in thick and fast. Abdul Nasir says, great to hear corporate heads leading from the front. May God bless them and their families. Very humane approach. I had a quick question for you before the break, Jeremy. People with personal account, those customers whose lives have been thrown into disarray by COVID, their pay cuts, unpaid leave, etc., not able to repay loans, what happens to them?
I think the first thing, like what we're doing in Absa and is happening across the industry, is come and talk to your bank. I think explain your circumstances. I think it's better that way than waiting until you're in distress, because we all understand the situation. We understand you may have lost your job or you may have had a pay cut. And that's where we talk to you about payment holidays, moratoriums, or restructuring it to give you a chance to get back on your feet. So I just urge you, talk to your bank, and I'm sure they can be able to work something out to give you a chance, because I think there's a big difference between inability to pay and unwillingness to pay. So that's what I would suggest.
Absolutely. Good point. Let's go to the tweets, which are coming in thick and fast. Chesire is saying, ask Jeremy if they are still giving personal loans for salaried people. I've been waiting for a long time. No concrete feedback, he says.
Yes, we are giving loans to salaried people, and we have those what we call scheme loans, where companies have a particular arrangement, and then we have your regular personal loans. So yes, we are giving loans.
Okay. Alvin Daniel is saying, ask the Absa CEO, what's the state of commercial banks to the economy during this pandemic? Will it lead to some banks being monopolistic?
I would hope not. I mean, I think now is when we really have to come together as an industry, and we have to come together as a country. Like we heard Dr. Githinji say, I think we have to do this together. We have to work with the government, and we have to focus on the short term to minimize the impact of this pandemic on lives and on our country. So what I hope you will see, and I can tell you we've already seen, and working through the Kenya Bankers Association, is making sure that we quickly discuss and respond to industry-based issues that are coming up. We work closely with our regulator, the central bank, and we're working with the ministries, because we also have a duty of care. We have a duty of care to keep banking services running. We have a duty of care to keep our colleagues and staff safe. We have a duty of care to our customers, and then we're also contributing in the broader sense to be forces of good, to help others who are less fortunate than ourselves. So the banking sector, I think, is in strong shape. This for sure will also impact banks. Make no mistake, it will have an impact. But I think the banking sector is in a strong enough shape to help support us through this process.
All right. Hannah wants to know, can you ask Jeremy how they can cushion small and medium-sized businesses, especially hotels and tourism? Many banks considering the sectors are high risk and turning down the cushion facilities.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've seen that the hotel industry and tourism-related industry has been seriously impacted. I guess the same thing for restaurants, service business, because people are not out and about and people are not coming to Kenya. I can tell you very specifically for Absa, we've had very specific conversations with many hotels. I know of hotel chains and individually owned hotels where we've restructured their facilities, even going as far as giving them 12-month moratoriums and restructuring, because we realize, like Dr. Githinji said earlier, this is not going to be something that is over in a few weeks. We've seen borders are closed, airports are closed. Even when they open, people are not going to be sure they want to travel because they're not sure how they're going to be impacted in the country that they travel to. So now more than ever, we're looking at how we can support those types of businesses. I think in addition, one of the things we're looking at, just as this is a very difficult situation, there's also going to be opportunities for businesses to start creating new products and getting into new areas. And we as a bank are looking at lending to those businesses, either startup capital to get their factories up and running, for example, to produce masks, to make ventilators, also working capital to help them run their businesses and to scale up in time. Yeah, we're going to have to set up isolation centers. And I've seen that we've got tools and equipment that can set up isolation centers in a matter of 2 or 3 days. So banks are going to have to come to the party to fund these so that cash is not in short supply when we need to move quickly to save Kenyan lives.
And I'm glad you mentioned that, because other companies producing medical equipment, are banks willing to step up and support them as well?
I wouldn't just say we're willing, we're already doing it. One of the conversations we're having within the COVID board is identifying lists of companies that produce this equipment, especially PPEs, personal protective equipment. We need that equipment, as I say, for our healthcare workers. We need to keep them safe. Masks, you've seen the CS speaking about everyone having to have masks. We need to make sure that those masks are produced here. What we're trying to do as a board is to make sure that we support Kenyan industry. We don't want to import when we can produce locally, because producing locally helps us create jobs for Kenyans, helps those Kenyans feed their families. So whilst we may need to import certain equipment, we want to focus most of our attention and put most of our money towards local supply. And this will last well beyond the COVID pandemic, creating capability that hopefully we can use to create even more jobs in the future.
Yeah. Jeremy, what should we expect to hear from the COVID board going forward?
I think what you will expect to hear is obviously we will be still seeking more money and more donations. We are more than happy to receive donations both in cash and in kind. We're ready even for those donations to be applied either to the healthcare and equipment side or to the livelihood side. So there'll be calls out for there. And I urge leaders of companies and corporates, please give generously. We can't be too ready to fight this pandemic. So that's the first thing. I think the other thing you will hear and see much more about very, very shortly is the actions we've taken and the money that we are spending to help save lives. I think if the numbers do rise, we're going to need to manage those in isolation centers and those in quarantine. So you can expect to hear that. And you will expect to hear a lot more with regards to the livelihood pillar, which is how do we keep people, help people through this difficult period by helping them feed their families. And we're working very closely with the government on this initiative to do it in a structured way that doesn't breach the standards of social distancing as we move forward.
Yeah, Jeremy, you've been in the banking business industry the last couple of decades or so. None of us have ever been down this road. We've never experienced what we have the last 6-8 weeks. What's the greatest lesson you, as a bank CEO, has learned from this COVID pandemic?
I think for me, the thing is that people matter, lives matter. And we need to come to something which is very basic, which is care, love, and compassion. That has to rule paramount first. There's things we can do as corporates. I think as individuals, we each can take decisions that can make a difference to individual lives. I'll give you an example. As we go through this, I'm very fortunate, and I thank God every day for what I have. But there are many people who are less fortunate, and this is hitting people in ways that we can never think. So when I say people matter, think of this: you've got people on the streets who are homeless. People are not moving around. Even they are now impacted. They can't even get that spare change that is being given out. So I would say now more than ever, we need those day-to-day acts of kindness. We need to care for one another. We need to look after each other. We need to ensure that greed, corruption, and all these things don't come in as we try to find solutions to these particular problems that we're facing. And I can say, Kenyans are amazing. We come together better than most countries, and I'm sure even through this difficult period, by working together, we'll be able to overcome this pandemic.
Yeah. Jeremy, I like that part. People matter. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for staying so late and talking to us tonight from your home office. We appreciate that. Good luck going forward, Jeremy. All the very best.
Thanks, Jeff. Thank you.
All right. Jeremy Awori there, Absa Kenya CEO, talking about banking. this time of the coronavirus pandemic. Keep tweeting, folks, at Koinange Jeff, at Citizen TV Kenya. The hashtag is JKLive. Thanks so much for being a part of the show, folks. Next Wednesday, same time, same place. Let's do it again. Good luck. Good luck. God bless. Stay safe. Stay strong. JKLive, powered